Welcome to Twit Wow, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our No Mercy review. And guys, I gotta tell you, I had some time to marinate on this pay-per-view. You know, we broke from live reactions and we'd reconvene in a little bit for this review. And in that time, I still gotta say, if Backlash is about putting their best foot forward for SmackDown, you know, their first pay-per-view event coming out with guns blazing, then I would say No Mercy, well, not a direct antithesis because it wasn't a horrible show by any means, still felt like in parts they were kind of resting on their laurels, you know, of some conservative decisions with people retaining titles that I feel like a title change would have been appropriate. Then you had title changes where I feel like a title retaining would have been appropriate. It seemed like the booking was all over the place. And yeah, I'm going to use a word that I used to describe this show to a friend of mine, you know, and just kind of around social media. I felt meh about this show. There were maybe like two standout matches, which is such a shame because if you compare it to my hype for this show, like, you know, it really didn't clear the bar. Again, not an atrocious show, but just kind of there. So, partner, what did you think about No Mercy?
Yeah, man, I got to tell you, I think, you know, like you said, it wasn't the complete antithesis of Backlash. It wasn't a horrible show by any means, but it was a show that I went into hype level being at like a 9. And then, like, when I found out that the main event or really the triple threat, the world title triple threat would go on first, I would say my hype level did reach a level 10 because it was like, oh my God, then we're going to start the show with a bang, and then we're going to have the Intercontinental title match main event, and Ziggler losing his career is going to close the show, and then we're not going to have closure until SmackDown. It's going to be amazing. Stuff actually happened except for the announced thing, which was the triple threat starting the show. I was very underwhelmed by the decision for Orton Wyatt to main event, and I think Daniel Bryan himself was even disappointed by that as well, based on what he said on Talking Smack. So the women's championship match not happening definitely didn't help the momentum of the show. The other women's match, Nikki Bella versus Carmella, was extremely lackluster. It was a very sloppy match. I wasn't happy with the Usos not winning the tag titles. And now you have to wonder how American Alpha is going to fit into the tag title picture with a couple of baby faces holding the titles. You know, there were just a lot of very questionable decisions, I think, that they made on this show that I can't get behind. And I think that the worst decision of all was not having the Intercontinental title be last, even if Ziggler was going to win, because that's still a huge moment to close your show on.
Definitely. Like, even if people are more forgiving of the matches, which is fine. I mean, we'll get into them here in a second. It doesn't change the fact that, to me, from a structural standpoint of this card, it's like they took an intriguing beat with the world title match as the opener. No gripes there, because I feel like, again, if we went by our thought process, that clears the brush away to do something very interesting. You have both the Intercontinental title and really the most emotional story, because a man's career at stake, main event. But that wasn't the case. Orton gets the main event. And I have a few things I want to say about that match. It's going to be an interesting match to review. But yeah, structurally, this card was very questionable. I do think it hurt itself. I will say this, my sympathies to SmackDown, because this is the second straight show they've had where they haven't been able to have a straight pay-per-view card, you know, from beginning to end. I mean, the first one, Backlash, Orton and Wyatt got pulled. And then tonight, the women's championship match got pulled. So I do feel for SmackDown, they have yet to have a complete pay-per-view card, as they originally advertised it anyway.
Well, and the crazy thing too, John, is that in both of those instances, the person who was originally supposed to compete in the match that got pulled ended up losing to a spontaneous opponent.
Exactly. So, you know, you really got to wonder, like, what the heck? But with that said, do you have any other preliminary remarks you want to get into before we get into the review?
Yeah, just as kind of like an over-encompassing statement, I think that the WWE's biggest mistake here was that they tried to book for unpredictability rather than booking for what made the most sense and would be the most compelling.
Right. I mean, and like I really do have to wonder, and then we'll formally get into the review, with the booking decisions they made, because and now it's going to be a while before the next event. I think the event is a co-branded one, because I think the next event, well, after Hell in a Cell on the Raw side, but I mean for SmackDown, should be Survivor Series, where they show up again. And again, that's a co-branded event.
Yeah.
So you got to wonder what they're going to do with all that TV time. We could be in store for some exciting.
Well, I mean, the thing is, even though that is in November, we have I think it's TLC literally 2 weeks after that. 2 or 3 weeks after that is TLC.
Right. So
I think
all right.
TLC is either on the 4th or the 11th. I think it's on the 11th of December.
Okay. But with that said, guys, let's start unpacking these matches. Let us get right into our No Mercy review. And I mean, let's start with the opening match, the WWE Championship Triple Threat. Partner, what did you think of this match?
Oh, it was so good. First of all, right away, best match of the night by miles. Not even close. Just in psychology, in how to handle a triple threat, in unimaginable. This was an amazing match to demonstrate that. This was so good.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, the more I mull over on it, I mean, I don't want to suffer from recency bias. So I'll probably give it a few weeks and rewatch it, but I think this is going to go on my match of the year contender list. I really enjoyed this triple threat.
I don't
it was
honestly.
Really good.
I don't think that this would be better than Styles Ambrose for me.
Really?
I don't, if I remember correctly, because I was really high on that match, wasn't I?
I think you were really high on that match, but I thought this match exceeded Styles Ambrose.
One of the last two matches, it was either Styles Ambrose or Styles Cena that I was super high on.
It was probably Styles Cena, because I know you enjoyed Styles Ambrose, but I remember you even saying on live reactions.
Styles Cena, then I don't think I would put this above that. This was a really, really awesome match. But at the same time, we need to kind of start checking ourselves right as soon as the pay-per-view ends. And you even mentioned recency bias. I don't think it's necessarily just recency bias. I think the predisposition anytime John Cena gets pinned in a match to like it more than it probably deserves.
I mean, and that may be true, but to me, that didn't even cross my mind. I just felt like everything was on point. I mean, I will admit it was a nice touch. And I'll even say this, where I was really pleased with this match. Normally when they do stuff, because they did that submission spot where two guys have a submission on the same guy and the guy taps out, I felt like the match didn't lose any momentum because they didn't drag out like, oh, what are we going to do? What's anybody going to – like none of that happened. Match pretty much continued because the ref's like, no, I didn't do any of that. This match continues. And not only that, who was at the center of the controversy? Ambrose and Cena, the same guys who have been at each other's throats the last few weeks. Now they get in each other's business again because it's like, no, I tapped out AJ. No, I tapped out AJ. So I love that it was those two guys bringing that feud, heightening that tension. So I even thought that was done really well. I thought AJ had amazing heel psychology, especially for the finish. I'm telling you, dude, AJ's putting together one hell of a body of work in the WWE, one that he could be immensely proud of. Did amazing in this match.
I mean, really, you can look at every match of the year candidate that the WWE's put out this year, and AJ is probably in like 3 of the top 5 candidates, including the top 2.
Exactly. I mean, AJ has just been absolutely astounding in this run. And I mean, a lot of creative stuff. I mean, multiple times where all 3 guys would take themselves out, and we got a 10-knuckle shuffle. We got Ambrose doing the calf crusher. It was inventive. It was imaginative. These guys went out there. They tore the house down. And then, like I said, AJ with the heel psychology towards the end comes in after Ambrose gets an avalanche AA, which protects him because that's the most lethal maneuver in all of WWE. But then Cena wakes up to see AJ hit him in the gut with a chair and then the back with a chair. And then AJ Styles pins John Cena after chair shots. Just brilliant because it furthers your line of thinking.
It protects everyone. And AJ gets even more heat for using a perfectly legal chair in a triple threat. It's like a cheaty way to win that's not technically cheating. in a triple threat to retain his title. I love it.
Exactly. And again, I loved, because I know you said this. I definitely know you said this on preview predictions. I don't know if you said it on Twitter commentary prior to that. But AJ pinning Cena, that just furthers the idea. Like, he's got Cena's number, and AJ is like Cena's new defining nemesis now since Orton and since Edge. Like, AJ's like the latest incarnation of those great Cena rivalries. And it's looking more likely to me after a finish like that, yeah, these two will be meeting down the road for WrestleMania, which I have no qualms with whatsoever. Great match. AJ retains, and I'm loving the shit out of his run. Great stuff.
Yeah, he's great. So then we had our second main card match of the night, Nikki Bella versus Carmella. And man, I was so disappointed in this match all around, from the in-ring psychology with Carmella working over Nikki Bella's neck early on in the match and then locking in the code of silence, and Nikki being in the code of silence for like a solid minute and a half and still being able to get to the ropes, and then immediately popping up and using the TKO on Carmella within like 30 seconds. Like that, the psychology is just completely lackluster. It was a very sloppy match. There were a lot of like A, botches, B, complete whiffs, and C, ugly looking moves that maybe weren't technically botches but still just didn't look good. And then my final gripe is that I think the wrong person went over. There's no reason for this feud to be ending this early. And if Nikki Bella beats Carmella clean in a singles match without Carmella even really trying to cheat beyond a few hair pulls, which Nikki did as well, this feud should be over. But it shouldn't be over point because this feud is too good to be over already. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not good.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, to me, I enjoyed the match to a point. I mean, I think all of your criticisms are valid. I just think my biggest disappointment is this, and I think you kind of touched on it towards the end. This feud, to me, I enjoyed the build to this match. I was enjoying Nikki Bella's work as a face. I'm like, she's looking vulnerable. She's getting pinned by Carmella. Carmella's in her head. The heel was actually looking like an obstacle. Like, all the pieces were there. And I was really liking the story that they were telling. And then it comes, like, the lights are on bright, right? It's the big pay-per-view match, the first one of the feud. I'm like, all right, guys, you know that Charlotte and Sasha, I don't know if it's going to get a Hell in a Cell stipulation tagged onto it, because when they're advertising it later on the No Mercy show, which made no sense to me, they didn't have the cell thing, so maybe it will just be a standard match. But either way, it's Sasha Charlotte. You got to show what you're bringing, because you know that they're going to deliver. And yeah, I feel like the bed was kind of shitting a little bit. Really disappointing to me, because I'm loving Carmella as a heel, and I actually am liking Nikki Bella as this kind of face. But this was a step backwards for the latter. I feel like Nikki Bella regressed to some of her worst behaviors that you and I always get on her for, namely, like you were saying, the selling. You get the neck worked over, and it was good psychology on Carmella's part, but Nikki just being able to, like, pop back up like she's Popeye and had that can of spinach.
I mean, the worst part is, even if we came into this match and Nikki had no prior neck injury histories and the exact same match happened, I'd still be disappointed. But add on to that the fact that Nikki was out for 9 months with a neck and spine injury, and that makes it even worse.
Yeah, because to me, if Nikki Bella was a babyface that knew enough, like, to sell throughout the match and this and that, it would be more emotionally resonant, because you know the story. 9 months, the rehab, everything. Like, people eat up that shit. I eat up that shit, and it's a great narrative to tell. But she didn't mine it for nearly as much as it's worth. And it was a step backwards to me for Nikki Bella. This isn't going to me like pissing all over her and be like, fucking Nikki Bella, because I still think she's coming out ahead. I've been enjoying her work on SmackDown Live, but this was definitely a step backwards for her, and I don't agree with her going over in this fashion. Even if she would have let her emotions get the better of her, which it seemed like she was going to do at the start of the match, because she came in pissed and got DQ'd, or Carmella got DQ'd to send a message. I said it on preview predictions, regardless of who would have won from a DQ, I feel like a DQ finish would have been so smart here, but they didn't employ it. And I got to say, yeah, this match left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, well, I think that about handles that, so I think we can move on. Up next, we had another solid match with a disappointing finish. Heath, Slater, and Rhyno versus the Usos. And the biggest things that we do at these pay-per-views that it's starting to legitimately feel like the WWE doesn't do is ask ourselves, depending on who wins this match, where does that team or person go next? And in this case, it was, well, if Slater and Rhyno retain, they don't really have anyone left to face. I mean, unless SmackDown wants to try and like build up, I don't know, the Ascension or some shit like that, but they were just on the losing team in the pre-show match anyway, so I doubt that. So we both felt like the logical step was Usos win, and then maybe we have the Usos or whoever participating in a 5-on-5 tag match at Survivor Series, but then at TLC we get the Usos versus American Alpha for the tag titles, and possible right now.
Yeah, to me, again, and look, I've got nothing against Heath Slater. Hell, I've been the one really vocal that I feel like he should have been the one to end Mrs. Intercontinental Championship reign. And believe me, we will get to that.
So much for that.
Yeah, we will.
I mean, I guess the good news is now we're going to get Corbin versus Ziggler again.
Oh, well, yeah. Do I want Corbin to be Intercontinental Champion at that price? I do. I think I do. But we will get to that match, and we'll talk about all the possibilities. But here's what frustrates me, right? And again, it goes back to the narrative, something that I've been actually complimenting SmackDown Live a lot for. When the Usos turned heel after the American Alpha beat them in like less than a minute, like squashed them, and they snapped on them and they beat them down. They said, like, we're frustrated. We're one of the longest standing tag teams here. We've been here, forever, it feels like. Not getting any respect. And we want those tag team titles. They change everything. Change the theme, change the look, and it feels like a new Usos. Because sometimes with performers, and I will give the Usos credit for this, sometimes it's like, okay, you have a fresh coat of paint, maybe a new aesthetic somewhat, but I don't really feel you putting your back into it. It really doesn't feel like this is a turn or a changing of the guard. No, the Usos feel different to me. It feels like a different product they're putting out. I'm loving it. I'm loving what they're selling, right? But you don't get the tag titles. And that's really frustrating to me because what did they change for? They changed because they weren't winning championships, because they weren't where they wanted to be. And now they changed and they're still not where they want to be. That's really kind of confounding to me, especially when, again, all due respect to Heath Slater and Rhyno, this really is a comedy team. This is I think you even used the terminology in preview predictions. This is a Cinderella team, a Cinderella story. And they don't have that kind of fiery credibility that would make them seem like they're having a long run, and they get past the Usos here. Not a bad match. I thought some great moments, some great work on both sides. We certainly had fun on live reactions. Just really a head-scratching result. I mean, what do you think, man?
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Just like I said, some of the decisions they made on SmackDown tonight weren't great, so I don't know.
I really, because here's the thing, I'm only saying this because I really, it's me grabbing at straws. I'm not denying that. I'm not trying to put forward a solution. It's just the only team I can think of. Maybe the Hype Bros are next in line because they beat the Vaudevillains on SmackDown before the pay-per-view, and they won the 8-man tag tonight, even though American Alpha gets the winning pin.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, that's why I even said, like, I'm grabbing at straws because that's
maybe Breezango, dude.
Maybe Breezango steps forward, which if they were, it would have been nice if they were a part of this 8-man tag tonight, and maybe the heel team would have won. Just
but
to give
maybe
them
the
something.
reason they weren't is because whoever wrote this show wanted the faces to win, and Breezango would have been on the heel team, and they didn't want them to lose because they wanted to protect them so that they could challenge for the titles.
Yeah, and see, like, points like that are why I said, now that we've got this gap, at least on the SmackDown side for pay-per-views and such, and it's really going to have to be compensated by television, I think SmackDown Live TV is going to be very interesting in the coming weeks, because now if Breezango steps forward, oh, hell yes, I'd love for them to get a run. If that's the trade-off, like, you can't get heel Usos as tag team champions, but you get Breezango, I will say that is a fair fucking trade. I will take that. But if you keep on this Beauty and the Man Beast run with Heath Slater and Rhyno, I just don't know who they could drop it to if they even get past Breezango, because at that point, you really got to ask yourself, well, what the hell is going on? So, yeah, good match, just really weird finish. So, there you go.
Yeah, brother. All right. So, I think we can move on, right? Probably.
Yeah.
Corbin Swagger.
What'd you think of this?
It was solid. I didn't hate this match. It was a little bit more on the boring side. I didn't really, it wasn't a match that I had an intense amount of into, but it wasn't horrible by any means. It was just kind of filler. This feud feels like filler. This match felt like filler. And the worst part is knowing this and the fact that Dolph Ziggler won the Intercontinental title tonight. I do actually think that we are going to get Corbin Ziggler for the next couple months, which is just the most repetitive shit. Like, we literally said at the draft, please don't let Corbin and Ziggler go to the same brand because they're going to end up falling back on that feud again. And here we are.
And you know what, though? I mean, I completely agree with everything you're saying, right? But if there is any silver lining to that, and that brings me to my personal review of this match, I mean, if this match proved anything, as if anybody should already be told, because it should be obvious at this point, Baron Corbin is brilliant. Because, like, all the best parts of this match came from him. I loved his psychology.
Like, we always talk about with Natalya, like, from, like, a technical aspect, she is a good wrestler. But she's so bad at everything else that goes into the in-ring performance that she's a bad wrestler. She's a bad professional wrestler. Just like overall, like, she's bad in the ring, not because she can't properly execute moves. A different story, because her discus lariat and her sharpshooter are still absolute garbage in my opinion. But that's not even what I'm trying to argue. She's a bad wrestler because she has no psychology, because she has a horrible voice and she screams and no one likes it, because she, her body language, her facial expressions are garbage, because she does the worst trash talk imaginable. Like, there are a countless amount of reasons that Natalya is not a good performer. A performer in the world of professional wrestler is being a wrestler. So when I say she's a bad wrestler, what I'm technically saying is she's a bad performer, even though she's got technical savvy in the wrestling world. Wrestler, in my opinion, makes her, or a bad performer, in my opinion, makes her a bad wrestler. Now, that, I think all of the things that I just said also apply to Jack Swagger. He's technically sound, and I don't think anyone would deny that, but he's boring. He's got no personality. He's got no body language. His facial expressions are blank. He's just, again, he is a male Natalya, except he doesn't have the nepotism to fall back on. He's got height instead.
And yet, when I think you look at the converse, I think a guy like Baron Corbin was made for this business. Because I feel like his psychology in this match was on point, working over Swagger's hand. And then the finish, when Swagger was really adamant to get that Patriot lock, and then Corbin thumbs him in the eye and he gets the end of days. Baron Corbin just gets it. He has the size, he has the presence, he has the heel psychology. I'm telling you guys, and you and I have been saying it for the longest time, and it feels good that the choir has grown considerably since the earliest days in which we started to say it. Baron Corbin is a guy that's going to be a world champion. I look at that, and that is the one thing that I'm really confident in, is an inevitability. And honestly, if he has to go through Ziggler to finally get a championship and show what he can do in a championship role as a heel, I'm willing to pay that price. That's how good I believe Baron Corbin to be. This guy, again, made for this fucking business. I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. Modern day Kevin Nash to me. And he is a guy, he is going to dominate. When he gets that world title, I think it's going to be a hell of a run, and he's got one hell of a future. Yeah, he really made this match for me.
Exactly. The eye poke was brilliant.
Yeah, just so good. He gets it, dude. A guy that size resorting to an eye poke, but it works because he's a heel. I fucking love it, dude.
Okay, so up next, let's talk about the Intercontinental Championship match. Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz, Maurice at ringside, and this match, really what it was WWE saying, all right, guys, go out there and put on every match you've ever put on, except right when Miz is about to win, Ziggler kick out. Then we'll bring out the Spirit Squad, and then we want Miz to hit another skull-crushing finale, and we want Ziggler to kick out of that, and then you can hit your super kick for the win. Like, that's what this match was. It was every Miz Ziggler match with a little bit added on to the end to make it more interesting, I guess.
And, maybe my criticism won't make any sense here. In fact, maybe it'll just be like I'm just masking my salt. But I think everything you just said is all the more reason, though, why it should have main evented. Because I think at least if it would have main evented, it would have had that atmosphere where I feel like this overbooking would have been appropriate. But
I
instead,
agree for sure. I mean, the thing is, John, you're preaching to the choir. I mean, I thought that
right.
this should have made. I was even the first person that suggested that it main event. It's kind of funny. I took a nap today. Only got like 4 hours of sleep, and I wanted to make sure that I would be fresh for the show tonight. And I took a nap, and when I woke up, one of the first things my mom told me was, "Oh, hey, by the way, the triple threat is going to open the show tonight." And I was like, "Oh, eventing." I was excited, and then you called me, and you were like, "Hey, man," and I was like, "Dude, did you hear triple threat's coming on first?" And you were like, "Yeah, I guess Bray and Orton are going to main event." And I was like, "Wait, no, what about Dolph and Miz?" I was like the first person to kind of bring that idea up in the first place, and then even though it was obviously the best decision to go with for whatever reason, and the funny thing is Daniel Bryan actually apologized to Dolph Ziggler for not putting them on last, so something went wrong there. That there were people that thought that they should have gone on last, and somebody freaking made the case for Orton and Wyatt to go on last, and whoever that was won. Probably freaking Kevin Dunn. But yeah, it was a huge mistake.
And partner, let me just ask before we continue, because here's the thing. I clicked out of Talking Smack at a certain point because I knew we were getting ready to review. Is that what you were alluding to? And Daniel Bryan even said something on Talking Smack, like he wasn't happy about Orton, Wyatt. Were you referring to that whole thing he said to Ziggler, that he's sorry that they didn't get to main event? Because, yeah, that's interesting to me. Yeah, that's interesting to me. And again, I do feel like, first of all, yeah, you were the first one to put it forward. It's crazy that I was right, and I'm not even happy that I was right, because, I mean, Orton Bray wasn't bad, but we'll get to it again. But yeah, I felt like this match, I mean, these guys can never really have a terrible match, but I think Ashton's criticism, it was succinct and it was accurate. It was everything you had already seen, but the only difference being Ziggler wins. And I would have been cool with that.
Really the only difference being all of a sudden now Ziggler has the ability to kick out of skull-crushing finales ad infinitum.
Exactly. And again, that kind of booking, I just feel like is more appropriate in a main event setting when it's at a fever pitch. You know the career's at stake. You have the atmosphere. But in the middle of the show, I see his eyes get sprayed and Miz hit the skull-crushing finale, and you're still able to kick out. Did your eyes become resistant to the spray? Like, what happened there, bro? I don't know, but
his career was on the line, John. It was his last match. He had to dig down deep, brother.
Yeah, Dolph got like plus 50 for, I guess, like a career risk magic card or something. Toughness. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Shroom plus 50 toughness.
Exactly. Schrummeister's going to have to explain what card Ziggler played with his career at risk that he was able to kick out of a skull-crushing finale with the hairspray assist. But and to see the
the old career on the line magic card, that changes everything.
Exactly. And dude, the crazy thing is too, we can't even get to Ziggler Corbin right away. Not that I'm so eager. The only thing really keeping me optimistic is I would hope that Corbin would win the fucking belt. You'd have to think that Miz still has a rematch. And then that is another thing too, because we both agree, if we're so set on Ziggler Corbin, that obviously Ziggler would retain. Where does that leave Miz? And I don't know what he's going to do now. And that brings me to my biggest criticism. And I know one that you shared, we both really were kind of about in live reactions. You give the fucking heat to Dolph Ziggler. Whether it was middle of the show or main event, yeah, like, no matter where this match was on the card, that's an issue independent of this. To me, Miz was putting together a great fucking reign, the best reign he's ever had with that belt, and certainly the most memorable. Doing all this stuff, I mean, the Success with a Failure video package, I loved it. I love the Miz TV segment where, you know, the Spirit Squad and everything else does all this stuff. And I guess in one way, because it's kind of a traditional story, of course the babyface is going to get the comeuppance, but why Ziggler? Yeah. You know, maybe it is a biased thing on my end.
They worked us, John. They worked the shit out of us.
They did. They did. And, you know, honestly, I wish, and it is kind of my own fault, because I got swept away by the prospect of, oh, man, the heat this would give Miz. You just douse gasoline on the fire, and then, like, anybody could come in and be made like gangbusters. But of course, in a story like this, the babyface,
they take the boring way out.
Yeah, it's really sad to me, because, again, it's not in anything in here. How can I put this? It's not that I have anything against Dolph Ziggler, but it's Dolph Ziggler. He's already been around so long.
Well, that's the thing, dude. Again, it comes back to what we were saying in August. You're 3 years too late, guys.
Exactly.
Like, you should have built this story in 2013.
Right. Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know. I feel like this is a wasted opportunity. It really would. Like, this is the biggest wasted opportunity of the whole show, in my mind. Because this had so much going for it, and it just felt like a glorified match you'd get on SmackDown Live again with just the altered finish. And now we're going to see another match on SmackDown Live, and I wonder if it's going to have a stip or whatever. Not that it'll matter, because if Ziggler can win in spite of all these odds, it really doesn't matter anymore what you do. And then Miz is going to move on to something else.
Dude, 5 years from now, people are going to hate Ziggler and Miz the same way that we hate Kane and Big Show right now. Just so sick of them being around and holding the mid-card titles and just existing in WWE. Like, there are going to be please retire chants for Dolph Ziggler in 5 years.
Yeah, I believe it. Especially, it's going to be all the more hilarious after a night like this. And I can't believe, I never thought in my life I would be up here feeling bad for The Miz. When I look at my trajectory of wrestling commentary, I've never really been one to be sympathetic to the guy. But he's been doing great. He mocked Daniel Bryan again, which was freaking great. And oh my God, because they even said the winner.
Ziggler had an opportunity tonight. Ziggler had the opportunity to sort of restore his integrity, go out on his back, and go out with his integrity. And it was sort of that you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain moment. And Ziggler winning tonight kind of hurt his stock in my eyes.
Yeah, and how crazy is that for you to say when he's the Intercontinental Champion? But I agree. I don't think you're wrong. And it's such a shame, too, because they're like, oh, the winner's going to be on Talking Smack. And I'm like, oh, man, can you imagine? Miz just retired Dolph Ziggler. He did it in a match where he employed
it's almost like they were planning on Miz winning. And then last minute, they struck a deal with Ziggler that made both sides happy. And they were just like, all right, Dolph, you're winning the Intercontinental title tonight. Go out there and put on a nice show. Or as PW Gregory would insist, go out there and tear down the house.
Yeah. Oh, God. I don't know. And see, there really was no wiggle room either, because I was getting ready to retort, well, even if they did strike a deal, maybe they could have taken him off TV for a while and then maybe he returns at Rumble. But they made it clear, like, you lose, you walk away, period. So they had to give Ziggler the win. And God, that sucks.
Could have had him. It could have had him come back in a mask, and it would have been fine.
A mask, he says.
Hide his damn your butt.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think your criticism at the start really could have just been the review for this match, and we could have moved on. Every match except Ziggler wins, and yeah, wow, really missed the boat on this one, guys. But yeah, Ziggler new IC champ. Yay.
Yeah, all right. Up next, we had our sixth match of the main card, Naomi versus Alexa Bliss. Bliss cut a promo before the match, just talking about how no woman can beat me, and she called Becky Lynch out for having medical issues, and she's like, in other words, she has a hangnail and something like that. And Alexa always has awesome facial expressions, and her promos are pretty good. Naomi comes out, and John, very, very questionable decision, loses to Naomi.
Yeah, why? And this is coming from a Naomi.
After kicking out of both the split-legged moonsault and the rear view.
That dastardly cradle foiled again.
Yeah. It's the roll-up of doom all over again. Oh, God.
And this is coming from a Naomi fan in me, because you know what a big supporter I've been of hers over the years. But, this makes no sense. Why? You already established on the kickoff, oh, Alexa, you'll get your opportunity November 8th, in Glasgow, Scotland, which they're making that seem like, given the, foreign location and everything. Like, that's SmackDown Live, maybe one to tune into because you're already getting a SmackDown Women's Championship match. So, oh man, this Alexa must be really legit, right? She's still getting her opportunity despite everything. And then she loses to Naomi. And again, I like Naomi, but this is not the time.
I think they're kind of trying to build up that November 8th show like a mini pay-per-view since they don't have one in November exclusive to them.
Right. Yeah, so. Which makes sense, but why are you hurting your own product already? Because if Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss is on that show and then Naomi comes in and beats Alexa Bliss, my next immediate question is, so triple threat? But I don't think they're going to move in that direction.
Well, and I think Shane McMahon even suggested that on Talking Smack, and Alexa quickly shot it down.
Yeah. So really, to me, you're in an interesting situation because either A, you do a triple threat, B, you do the one-on-one match, and then Alexa Bliss wins, and then we go into Alexa Bliss Naomi program, which sucks for Becky, and I hate that option because I want Becky to have a run. Or 3, but kind of confounding still, Becky does retain. But, Naomi did beat the number 1 contender, so just her and Alexa have their own separate feud, and then Becky moves on to somebody else entirely. I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing, John. I think that we might get a triple threat at Survivor Series.
Right, okay.
But they're gonna kind of do what they did with Ambrose and Styles and use the November, the Glasgow show for the singles match, because Alexa was promised a singles match, and she never got it. So even though she lost tonight, she's still going to get a singles match. But then whoever wins that is going to have to defend against both the other person that was in that match and both threat at Survivor Series.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. Again, this is a match where I like the work from heel Alexa. Like, I really feel like she's come into her own on SmackDown Live. I'm quite enjoying her. I know on some of the places I frequent online, it's kind of a mixed bag with her. Some people are really into her. Other people really just don't get her, and they just feel a disconnect. But I'm really into her right now. I thought her psychology was great, working over the arm of Naomi and everything. But then Naomi to come out with that cradle, it's whatever. So, all right, match. But, yeah, I mean, Naomi wins. What more can you say about it?
All right, so then we get to our main event. Orton, Wyatt, and oh boy, this wasn't a great match, and I wasn't super happy about the finish, but not because I don't like Bray Wyatt. I love Bray Wyatt, and it's cool that he won, but like the weird thing is, you spent all of the time building up to this, trying to make Orton look legit, and your champion is a heel, and then Bray Wyatt wins.
Right.
Again, it's like SmackDown was going more for shock value than actual logical booking.
Yeah, which, again, though, what's going to be interesting is when you do booking decisions like this, well, now that it's set in and the show's over, you can't turn back the hands of time. You've got to scramble, and you've got to find a way to make your TV coherent with these results. And how are you going to make...
going to challenge AJ Styles for his title anytime soon? If Cena's leaving to film, is it True Grit? No, that's a movie.
American Grit, right?
American Grit, that's what it is. Thank you. And Ambrose is leaving to film whatever WWE film it is. Those guys are both out. Ziggler is a champion now, so obviously he can't challenge for the world title unless they do like a weird champion series. But even then, we've seen it before, so who cares? As far as we've seen it before, I mean, we've seen AJ versus Ziggler before.
Right.
And, they're not going to, like, randomly have, like, Apollo Crews challenge for the world title. Like, I don't understand where they're going with this. Unless they're going to, like, turn AJ face just because, like, he's getting a good response. But he just won with a freaking chair shot.
Yeah, and you can't...
no sense to me. I don't get it, brother. You got to fill me in on your thoughts here.
I mean, you know what? And see, here's the thing. Like, I'll give you my thoughts. And me saying this isn't me saying that this is a decision I like. This is just me getting in WWE's mind. I think they're going to
roll with Orton Styles anyway, even though he lost tonight.
Well, here's the thing. They're going to roll with Orton Styles, but here's how I think they're going to do it if I'm in WWE's head. They're going to do the cop-out route where they're probably going to have a segment with Shane and Bryan, and they're going to say, hey, Bray did win at No Mercy, but there was a bit of controversy with returning Luke Harper. So you guys are going to have a rematch, but this rematch is going to have higher stakes. Winner is the number one contender for the WWE Championship, and maybe they'll even get a title shot for the November 8th show, and then Orton wins.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So basically they're going to hotshot what we thought they were going to do between Backlash and No Mercy, and they're just going to do it between No Mercy and a regular SmackDown television show.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly.
Take like a month worth of programming and slam it down into like 2 weeks.
Yeah, which again though, like at that point, even then, it's not a satisfactory resolution for one, and two, for Bray Wyatt, again, we're back to what does he do? Does he then interfere in that WWE Championship match and continue the work with Orton? Does he move on to somebody else? This is what frustrates me about the booking of Bray Wyatt, because I should be really happy that he won this match, right? Like, oh, and I even said it would be cool if he won, but then to do it this way and to know that AJ retained earlier in the night, it's like I just feel like he's going to get screwed again, except this is going to be a delayed screwing of Bray Wyatt. You know, it's not going to be immediate. It's not going to be right away. They're going to drag it out a bit and give us that false hope. I don't know, man. It's really confounding. I'm really happy Luke Harper's back. I got to say, the triple threat and Luke Harper's return, definitely the biggest highlights of the show for me. I'm so happy to see him in a ring again, doing his thing. And, you know, that put a smile on my face. And the fan in me at least somewhat is happy that Bray won, but I don't know what you do with that. What do you do with that momentum? You had a guy just win at the main event of your pay-per-view against your top prospect or one of your top prospects in Orton. That should necessitate a world title match, but how do you juggle all that? I don't know, dude. I'm just as perplexed as you are.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
And that's pretty much where we're at.
I had like 4 different ideas there, and I just nixed them all before they even approached my tongue.
Right. Well, I don't know. You might be envisioning the SmackDown writing room in the coming weeks. It's like, oh wait, Bray won, but our champion's a heel. Oh wait, no. Oh wait, no. Oh wait, damn it! And you know they're not going to know what to do.
Yeah, that was pretty much my thought process too. But yeah, I guess maybe you do like. Obviously, I agree with you that they're going to do Orton Wyatt again for number one contendership. My question is whether it's going to be Luke Harper banned from ringside or if it's just going to be a cage match. Because they could do a cage match.
Yeah, they could. And then, you know, part of me that Marky's on, I'm like, no, you know what, you're going to do it again. Just fucking double down and have Bray win again. But no, they're going to do that fucking 50-50 shit. And then, and it's the worst kind of 50-50 because it's like, oh, even though you're one apiece, Orton, you get a title match anyway. So, Bray, you might as well have lost the feud because now Orton's moving on to better shit. Like, what
and then Bray and Luke Harper can be the ones that take the tag titles off of Heath, Slater, and Rhyno.
Which, you know, I mean, fine, I guess. I don't know. What the fuck?
You're so wonderfully indifferent towards this idea.
I mean, again, it's, in a way, on paper, right? That sounds cool as hell. Like Heath Slater being an absolute idiot, interacting with the Wyatts. Like, man, I don't know what's going on. I just know I got kids, man. You know, and then just, you know, thinking about that. And then Rhyno being whatever. And then you get American Alpha sharing a ring with 2 great workers in Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt. I should be jagged about that shit. But this is a convoluted fucking roadmap to get here. Like, if you were going to do that, just do it. Why even do all of this? See, it's called a plan. Make one. Do something. I don't know. Why do I feel like we're reviewing a Raw pay-per-view? This doesn't even feel right.
It's funny because you suggested they make a plan.
I don't know. You know, it's just something that leaves me throwing my hands up and saying, okay, you know, you got SmackDown Live, which is still a great TV show. You know, I'm going to be intrigued to tune in. This isn't me saying, oh, death to SmackDown, whatever. But, man, you come out hot with Backlash. I feel like Clash of Champions was a fucking gimme. Like, oh, you know, like that show, people still remember how crappy it was. Now we're just going to reinforce how good we are with No Mercy. And swing and a miss. And now Hell in a Cell's going to go up to bat. And I'm not saying they're not going to knock it out of the park. But we'll see how they do. That could be a really fun show. We'll wait and see. But man, no mercy. Man, I don't know. But Bray wins. Luke Harper returns again. Big bright spot there. And Orton, much like all of us, is probably just left thinking, what the fuck? So, yeah, I mean, do you have anything else you want to say about this match? Or No Mercy as a whole, for that matter?
Damn, Future? You're scary.
And yeah, I guess my sentiments exactly, maybe. But as
You're not sure? Do you not agree that the future's looking kind of eerie for SmackDown right now?
A little bit. I mean, I don't want to be all
Ziggler
doomsday.
is the Intercontinental Champion. The Miz's heat has been wasted. AJ
Yeah.
Styles is champion, but he doesn't have any good contenders in sight. Heath, Slater, and Rhyno have officially held the titles for a month. It's dark times, brother.
Yeah, I don't want to call Doomsday because of one show, but the thing is, one show can do a lot of damage. And I feel like they did a lot of damage on this show, and really all you listed. It's going to be up to SmackDown Live now. Maybe SmackDown Live, maybe this is all an act, right? Maybe they wanted to be bad, so they're like, guys, we're going to show you how good we are. We're going to deliberately dig this hole. Okay, and then we're gonna get out of it, and maybe that's what they're thinking. But no, man, you crushed Stephanie and Mixer like with how bad. And this isn't even me trying to take the piss, but I'm going to anyway. With how bad Raw is on TV, and with how lackluster again their first show Clash Champions was. Don't know how Hell in a Cell is gonna be. It's pretty much a gimme every week that SmackDown, if we're talking about those two brands and not widening the scope of competition, it should be a gimme every week because SmackDown does do a lot right. But that doesn't give you an excuse to rest on your laurels or make mistakes so that Raw could catch up. It's like, no, guys, we got to screw up so that the other team can play. No, you crushed their fucking throat. I never believed in any of that mercy shit. If you can keep scoring, even if it's 108-0, you keep fucking scoring. Screw that shit. Make the other team cry. But SmackDown, I guess, just didn't share that philosophy tonight, and it's quite disappointing. And this was really a lackluster show. Like, if I'm being honest, and this may even be a generous grade in itself, I would give this show maybe a 6 out of 10. I mean,
that's exactly what I was thinking, dude. You freaking nailed it. I can't believe we agree on
And let me tell you something, though, about my grade, and maybe you would agree with that, too. That is largely due to that triple threat. That triple threat was amazing to open the show.
I would argue that it's because of just the overall match quality. The triple threat, the tag title match, the Intercontinental title match, and to a lesser degree, I would also say the main event was a good match. Also because of Luke Harper returning, that's just awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we were at a 9. I personally got up to a 10 today before the show actually started.
Yeah.
Because of the triple threat going on first and me thinking that the IC title would be last.
Right.
And we both dropped quite far because you were at like a 9.5 coming into today. And you fell down to a 6. I fell down to a 6. So yeah, man, it was a slightly above average show that could have been made better if they just made better decisions.
Dude, this show, and here's the thing too. Like I said on preview and predictions, what I loved about this show on paper was that every match made sense. Every match seemed to have a sense of purpose. And here's the thing. Like, it's not even, Becky couldn't compete. Hey, shit happens. But why not commit to your number one contender and have Alexa win? Why not have heel Usos win? What the hell did they change for? Like, that's the thing. On paper, everything was sound. Everything made sense. And all you had to do was the follow-through. All you had to do was not necessarily put it on autopilot, but, just commit to those finishes that make logical sense and then carry on to the next show. Because that's what their TV product really seemed to be signaling. Like, we're consistent, we're building stories, we're doing all this. And then you do so much questionable booking in this show that, I don't know, dude. Their TV product in the next few weeks is definitely going to be interesting to how they respond to all this. But yeah, 6 out of 10 for sure. I'm really glad we have the same grade. That's crazy. But yeah, this is definitely a 6 out of 10 show.
Absolutely. All right. I think that's a pretty good point to close out on. You want to do high spots and low shots for this show?
Sure. High spots, low shots. My low shot, you know what I'm going to say is John Cena. You were going for that 16th World Championship, and AJ Styles pinned you again. Chair or no chair, I mean, you got punked out in a major way. So John Cena's my low shot.
All right. So you took kind of the obvious choice. You took the the front runner. So I'm gonna have to dig real deep here, and I'm gonna have to give my low shot. The Miz, I guess. Oh God, it's so hard to pick. There are so many people who lost that I like. I don't want to give my low shot to because I like them.
Right.
Carmella. I like the Usos. I guess I could give my low shot to Jack Swagger. He's kind of a freaking jobber.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Suck it, Swagger. You lost. You failed.
See, you got one from Ash tonight. I'm still saving up my fail bomb. Somebody that I hate is going to fail. I hope it's Sami Zayn. That would be delicious.
Sami Zayn, isn't it? Oh no, we said it at the same time. God.
No. I want to laugh at him. So I already laugh at him every day for being born, but I'd really like a more legitimate reason than that.
No, he can't. No.
Look, your face can't do shit. All right, so just deal with it. But
oh my God. Why couldn't you just use your fail bomb on Dolph Ziggler tonight?
Because he won. Way to help the team, Ashton. God.
No, that's what I mean, though. Why couldn't SmackDown just have made the right call? Ugh.
But my honorary high spot is Luke Harper. Welcome back, big guy. Great to see him in the ring.
Welcome back, brother. Can't wait to see some typical suicide dives from a 6'7", 270-pound man.
Yeah, I missed him immensely. He is a guy so dedicated. And you know what? I hope he came back with a renewed sense of purpose because I heard he was pissed being on the shelf and overlooked as like a great draft prospect. I want to see Luke Harper have just a fiery freaking career. So honorary high spot. And my actual high spot, who do I give it to? God, you know what? Honorary high spot, I'm going to go with it. The champ that runs the camp. My low shot was in the triple threat. I might as well go with the man himself, AJ Styles. Had the best match of the night. Again, though, this is probably an easier endeavor given who he was working with. He's still the WWE champion. He's still better than virtually everyone else. Everybody else can suck it. AJ's WWE champion, and yeah, he's my high spot.
I have a high spot for tonight.
Okay.
My high spot is Becky Lynch because she didn't have to be a part of this, and she deserves better, and she got better. And I'm sure whatever procedure she had done today, it was less painful than working this show tonight.
So you're really committing to that, huh? Becky Lynch is your high spot. Okay, you know what? I ain't going to challenge you to make a big stink about it. Becky Lynch is your high spot. So with that said, is there anything else you want to say about No Mercy?
You know why it was Becky Lynch, right?
Well, I mean, didn't you give your reasons that she didn't have to be a part of this and all that other stuff?
Okay, why it was Becky Lynch over the alternatives.
Why?
I'm not making my high spot Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, yeah.
It's not happening. He doesn't deserve my high spot. Becky Lynch gets more credit for just being able to not be on the show and keep her title for another month. Gets for failing his way into the Intercontinental Championship. Congrats, jackass.
Yeah, and I also do have to give Becky Lynch credit. If I didn't pick AJ Styles, I would have co-signed onto that because she did make Alex Foster produce tears, which just taste amazing as martinis. So, I mean, yeah, Becky Lynch was a credit to us all tonight. Way to go, Becky, and we hope you feel better soon. But yeah, with that said, do you have any concluding remarks about No Mercy?
No, sir.
All right. Well, with that said, guys, this has been Twitwell. This has been No Mercy. I should have said this has been No Mercy. This has been Twitwell, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment, subscribe, and leave a like. So far, I'm seeing 6 likes. Somebody left a dislike. We will find you. So be sure before you leave to leave a like because that'll push our review to the top of the search results for No Mercy reviews. And we would really, really appreciate it. Fuck YouTube's algorithm up the ass. You guys already know all the stuff to check out. But what you may not know is to submit questions for our Q&A. It will be our 4th Q&A. 3rd Q&A was insane. 59 questions, guys. Could not believe that we met that mark. So, we do questions last Friday of every month. October 28th will be the day for our 4th Q&A. You could submit 5 questions per Q&A. They can either be all to me, all to Ashton, or all to both of us, or any combination, of the 5, 3 to Ashton and maybe 2 to me, however you want to divvy it up. And they could be on any topic, wrestling, non-wrestling, whatever your heart desires within reason. And yeah, we'll answer them and it'll be a good time. So until then, guys, that's been our No Mercy review. And I guess we shall see you again for our Lucha Underground live reactions, where justice for Johnny will be served and he will be Gift of the Gods champion. You can bank on that. And until then, Scum Squad for life, and tune in and peace out.